Good afternoon and welcome to the Quays News Dementia Special. I'm Max Merrill.
And I'm Emily Murray. Today we're approaching the end of Dementia Awareness Week, a campaign to encourage people to address dementia directly. Salford kicked off the week with an event called Embracing the Dementia Challenge. On Monday, people living with dementia, carers, family members and organisations all gathered at a lighthouse. Our reporter Laura Bailey was there.
There are currently 850,000 people living with dementia in the UK.
This week is Dementia Awareness Week. We're here today with a number of commissioning groups and charities that talk about living well with dementia.
The event, held by the Clinical Commissioning Group, saw talks from experts from the field, special presentations and even a choir.
Well, there's lots of good stuff going on in the country around dementia and raising awareness and enabling people to live better lives. But we think we do particularly well in Salford, and we wanted to celebrate all of the good work that's going on, and in particular with service users. So this has come about as a result of service users saying to us, we want to share what we've done, we want to tell people all the good stuff that we've been involved in and all of the services that we've been able to shape.
In March 2012, David Cameron launched a national challenge to fight dementia. He set ambitions to be the best country in the world for dementia care by 2020.
I'm here supporting the Dementia Champions Group, like I have done the last 3 years, to host this event to show the important work that's been carrying on in Salford since 2012. The group have been here since 2013, recruited through various groups in Salford, and have helped us shape services and to be able to tell us what services work or what doesn't, and what ideas they have to make things better for the future for people with dementia and their carers.
Salford's achievements for working with those living well with dementia are worth singing and dancing about. Laura Bailey, Quays News.
And Laura Bailey is here now to discuss Monday's event. So Laura, what did you make of the event?
It was an amazing event. I'd never really known too much about dementia before. I'd gone to the event, and when I was asked to go, it was an amazing event. I got to meet so many people, like you said before, so many different charities. It was organised by the Clinical Commissioning Group as well, Salford's Clinical Commissioning Group. So it was great to see a great number of people. Amazing event, definitely.
So you said you never really knew much about dementia before. What did you learn at the event?
I learned the different types of dementia and also how people live well with dementia, because the event was all about celebrating dementia and knowing that you're not alone. So I got to learn how the carers look after people, how to live well. We got to see people dancing, we got to see a choir. So it was really nice to see that it's something to be celebrated, yes.
And you met loads of different people who were living with dementia, also carers. Can you tell us a bit about some of the people you met?
Yeah, I met Sam and Leslie, which you will see later on, and they are an amazing couple. And Sam looks after Leslie, and it's just amazing to see their relationship and how they work together, and how Sam looks after Leslie. And also I got the chance to meet the Salford Champions Group, which is the Dementia Champions Group, and how they work in the community to care for people living with dementia, and the activities they run, and also support for the carers, which was great.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, Laura, and it'll be back again next year?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, Laura Bailey. In 2012, the Prime Minister, David Cameron, set a dementia challenge for the United Kingdom, focusing on 3 areas: improvements for people living with dementia and carers, creating dementia-friendly communities, and better research into the condition. Dr. Jenny Walton discusses Salford's response to the challenge.
The priority is to make sure that the Prime Minister's challenge on dementia in Salford is met as fully as possible.
And how do you feel like that has been done, meeting the PM's challenge?
Well, I think an awful lot of money has gone into certainly primary care to help with early diagnosis of dementia for people who live in Salford. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating, as it were, because the diagnosis rate in Salford is 84%. There's a predicted number of people who are expected to have dementia within Salford. That's around about 2,500. The national target is to get 74% of people diagnosed, and it's actually 84% in Salford. So GPs and primary care and their teams are very well aware of diagnosing dementia early and referring to the memory assessment team for early diagnosis and treatment and information and services.
Now let's get back to basics, or the BASIC, Brain and Spinal Injury Clinic in Eccles. Salford residents living with dementia are taking part in a virtual reality rehabilitation trial. Our reporter Conor Griffiths went to look at the virtual reality carrying system and talked to the staff who operate it.
Virtual reality is widely considered a technology of the future. In Eccles, a pilot programme is taking place, testing virtual reality as a treatment for dementia. The Karen system, which is being used for rehabilitation purposes for the first time at the Basic Charity in Salford, puts its users into physically challenging situations without any real dangers. I spoke to Karen operator Andy Golightly about the system and how the clients have found it so far.
We've had lots of different people with different conditions on the Karen, and they've all really enjoyed it. They've all want to come back for the next session and the next session, and they feel as though that they're having fun rather than traditional rehabilitation therapy. They forget that they're doing that, and they actually sort of enjoy it, and the benefits away from Basic have been really good as well.
The system, which cost over £1 million to install, was found by the charity after seeing the system used in Israel for the rehabilitation of soldiers. Wendy Edge, the charity's CEO, explained how the installation was funded.
Funding came from all sorts of different places, from grants, from charitable trusts, donations from companies, people doing all sorts of events for us, so just from donations, just all over the place really.
Yeah. And it's early days of this pilot programme, but its findings could contribute to finding the cure for dementia. Conor Griffiths, Quays News.
Thanks, Conor. Now joining us in the studio is Dr. Tracy Williamson from the University of Salford to discuss the Salford Institute for Dementia. Tracy, what exactly does the Institute do?
Well, the Institute's been around for over 2 years now, and it has a dementia design background, and it focuses very much on innovative research, education, enterprise and innovation around improving the experiences of people living with dementia.
So the Institute's obviously based in Salford, but how does it work within England?
Yes, it's based at the University of Salford on the Crescent in Salford, but we work very closely with local partners in health and social care and charities in the third sector and the like. But our work is also national with a range of partners around the country, but also international around Europe and as far away as Australia.
Now, I've heard that Salford is quite a good place to be if you are living with dementia. Why is that?
Yes, well, I'm biased, but I would say that Salford really is leading the way with living with dementia. I think we've got a unique mix here of people that are very committed and passionate and values-driven around dementia and can see the person rather than the condition. I think that's really important to people living with dementia. And because we work with people that are affected by dementia in absolutely everything we do, right from the idea stage through to fruition, that helps us to get things right. It helps us grounded in what we do. So I think we're leading the way because we listen and work with closely people that are affected by dementia.
And would you say that's your emphasis, on people's lives, living well with dementia?
Absolutely, yes. It's about us not doing for people, it's about doing things with people and making sure we address the concerns that they have, such as the experience of living with young onset dementia, which is a neglected area, and that's something we're doing some research on now.
What are some areas we can still specifically improve on?
I think one of the key areas at the moment that we hear from people we work with is around the diagnosis experience. I think that's a very difficult thing to do, to give somebody a diagnosis like that. And I think there's still improvement to be made around how we both give the news, how we signpost people to information and provide support afterwards, although great strides have been made in the city with this regard recently.
That's great. Thank you very much for coming in
You're very
today,
welcome.
Tracy. A diagnosis of dementia can feel like a defeat, but there are those who seek the positives and unite in spite of the illness. They are the Salford Dementia Champions. Once a month, they meet up to learn about the condition, raise awareness and campaign to make Salford a more dementia-friendly city. We spoke to Jackie Gandy, one of the champions.
My husband died last year in July.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, it's very sad, but I was one of the things is that there's a 22-year age gap between us. So when he was diagnosed in 2006, there was absolutely nothing available. You got a handful of leaflets and off you went. It is now much different, and we feel part of our carers group, what we like is when new members come, they tell us things, we can pass it out. Anybody comes with a problem, we can always go and find somebody who does know, and that is a community asset that perhaps remains unhidden most of the time. But we do try and help. Ex-carers are important because, like myself, I'd lost my husband, so after 24/7 caring, what was I supposed to do?
By the year 2020, over 22,000 people will be living with dementia in Greater Manchester. A new partnership, Dementia United, has been launched to transform the experience of these people.
They always say, as you get old, you get forgetful. You put it to the back of your mind and you just think it's old age. But when it was affecting my job, that's when it becomes quite serious. Well, they said the diagnosis was mild Alzheimer's. It's a shock to your brain to actually take it all in. You think to yourself, your life's over, and then you think, no, it's not over.
Devolution is really about aiming to improve the health and well-being of the whole 2.8 million population that live in Greater Manchester. But at the moment, the NHS and social care is quite a fragmented system where the budgets and the decision making are spread around quite a lot. Devolution really is about bringing decisions and budgets much closer to home. What it will mean for people with dementia and their carers is their interaction with the health and social care system is better. It's more joined up, it's more responsive to their needs, and it's one that they can rely on much more consistently than perhaps some of the way in which we work now.
People with dementia and their carers have told us for many years about the struggles they face trying to access the very vital care and support that they need through the hospital, their GP surgery, in the community, in residential care. What this devolution brings is a real opportunity to have one system, to have one set of services to deliver the care and support which people with dementia need, deserve, and have a right to get.
We're now leading, on behalf of the devolution programme, the development of a 5-year strategy for dementia, which will be a partnership between the 10 local authorities, the CCGs and the provider system. People who are living with dementia may also have other chronic health issues. Really seeing the person's physical and mental health as part of the total care package and not seeing them as separate things is our vision for the future. We have to get better at helping people monitor their own health. And so we're experimenting with things like wearable devices, room sensors, how we can enrich their lives and really try to stave off some of the issues around loneliness that can occur when you're living with dementia. And finally, we want to make sure that people are connected to support systems 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
The biggest opportunity that devolution presents here in Greater Manchester is that it's the voice of people with dementia and their carers, their loved ones, that is at the heart of decision making.
We need to not be isolated. People should come on board straight away to help you.
Make sure that you've got people with the condition of dementia on the board at the beginning. Don't ask us halfway through what we think. We need to be in at the beginning.
There's a huge excitement, there's a huge dedication and commitment when everyone I speak to, be it people with dementia, knowing the opportunity that potentially exists for them, the people who are working in hospitals, dedicated staff. These opportunities are now becoming a realism, and we can grasp that and deliver the real change.
Living with dementia can be a shared journey between those with a condition, their carers and their families, and even their pets. Joining us is Joy and Tony Watson, a couple who share this journey. So Joy, do you think journey is the right description? How did it start for you?
It started with me being clumsy and my memory was a bit skewed, and when I was at work, because I was a carer, I couldn't remember what my clients had ordered, whether it was tea or coffee. But then it got serious when I couldn't remember his medication, so from there on in, I gave up my job.
And I wonder, for both of you, how has it affected your everyday lives?
I think it's the first diagnosis was devastating because we had a rough idea that it was Alzheimer's, but when we actually got the diagnosis, I just went into deep depression because I just didn't want to acknowledge that, the future might be quite dismal. But then I came out of that depression and decided to really work at changing things and helping other people with dementia. Yeah.
And I mean, as well as Tony helping you through the journey, you've also got Demi here, who you brought in the studio.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about Demi's role in living with dementia?
Hopefully, if she makes the grade, and I'm sure she will, she'll start off being a pat dog, so I can take her into care homes and hospitals, and then she'll do her training for my assistance dog. But I'm allowed to train myself. Someone will come to the home and teach me what to do, and then come every week just to make sure I'm doing it right. And then hopefully she'll be trained to be my dementia dog, which means that she'll be trained to bring me my medication when I've forgotten.
Oh, right.
She'll help me to bring down my stress levels. So she'll bring me a ball, so it will distract me from getting uptight and getting really agitated. So there's lots of things she can do for me, but mainly it's confidence. I need her to come with me everywhere.
So Tony, I understand you moved from Kent to Salford.
That's right.
Is that because of the whole connection with dementia in Salford?
No, it's a family connection, because our eldest son was planning to adopt 2 little girls, and he wanted his mum nearby. So we moved up, and it wasn't until we came to Salford that we actually managed to get the diagnosis that we've been looking for about 4 or 5 years before that. It took us a total of about 6 years from the first spotting symptoms to getting the real diagnosis.
And do you feel that, Salford has played quite a big role and it's such an important place for
dementia? Incredibly, yes. Joy often says that if you have to have dementia, have it in Salford, because the support networks, the memory assessment teams, and the support that we have got around here is second to none. It's superb.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in the studio, to both of you, and of course to Demi as well, and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, that's all for the Quays News Dementia Special. Dementia Awareness Week runs until tomorrow, but I'm sure the efforts made this week will continue past the campaign.
Up next is a film documenting a journey from being diagnosed with dementia to living well with dementia. Thank you and goodbye.
Dementia can be compared to a journey that begins even before getting a diagnosis. Meet Kevin, who gave up his job as a solicitor after being told he had Alzheimer's.
I was doing corporate work and commercial work. The main thing that I noticed that I was getting tingling sensations in my head. I went to my GP, and I told him about this, and I said it ran in my family, and so I've got to sort of look at it and think, is it the beginning for me? and Dr. Noble, she said, well, we've had the scanners, and there is shrinkage. And that hit me like a sledgehammer. When I was diagnosed, Mary and I sat down and what we're going to do, sure, for a start, why don't we get a dog? And he has been a huge, huge help. If you can laugh and you can carry on and be with people who are in the same boat as you are, then there must be something right. And it's helped me to maintain my life. I was quite happy with my life beforehand, but it's to maintain my life in the way that I was living before.
Woodlands Hospital is a specialist unit supporting people living with dementia. The memory assessment and treatment team offers individualised assessments when people have memory problems. People are referred from the GP, and we acknowledge that it's a really anxiety-provoking time. When somebody's concerned, they may have had them concerns for quite a while, and they'll come to the clinic, and what we try to do is make that as relaxed and as pleasant an environment as possible. Once somebody receives a dementia diagnosis at Woodlands, we have a post-diagnostic support pack, and we also are able to offer post-diagnostic support either as a group with other people who are in a similar position, or we're also able to offer individual post-diagnostic support.
Part of my role is to lead on from people that have attended post-diagnostic support group. They will then receive a welcome from our facilitators, Mike or Kevin, who are also living with dementia. We run 2 open door support groups run by Mike and Kevin. They facilitate our groups. We help raise awareness about living well with dementia and give them information and signpost them to other services in and around Salford. We're also going to be launching our early onset dining club, which is going to be meeting once a month in the evening between 6 and 8 p.m. to support people that may be still in employment once they've received a diagnosis.
Where do we go from here? There are different dementias, so people find themselves on different pathways. Let's follow some of these routes and see where they take us.
Yeah, it's lovely. That's the only way I go outdoor.
It's the only time she goes through the door to come here.
We went to
Southport?
Southport, we went there.
You've been bowling at the Trafford Centre?
Yeah.
Because it's not physical, people can't see what's wrong. It's hard to perceive that something's actually wrong with you. It's like a big family in there rather than anything else.
Because we all, what I've got and they've got and
sometimes you don't know who's got it, well, so you.
Some people's journey takes them along fast-moving motorways. Others find themselves meandering along country lanes. Whatever route your journey takes, it's always good to know there is support along the way.
Age UK Dementia Support Services have been involved with people pre-diagnosis and also post-diagnosis. We work with people living with dementia and their carers. One of the first things that we would arrange when we get a referral is that a dementia worker would go out and do an individual assessment on the person living with dementia and their carer. One of the things that Age UK Salford's Dementia Support Services provide is peer support groups for some just for the person living with dementia, some just for the carer, and some groups who both may attend.
People affected by dementia have different needs. It's often nice to just sit and chat over a coffee.
It was quite desperate really, because Mum started with the dementia and we got referred to Woodlands, and then as part of their advice package they recommended the dementia cafes. Never heard of them before, and then we came for the first time nearly 4 years ago and worked really well. And as my mum said, we were greeted with open arms and given a raft of information, so it's been really, really useful.
I don't like them, I love the staff because they make you feel very welcome, and it looks as though it's genuine, if you know what I mean. It's not, you talk to them nicely, but like I say, I'd adopt all of it if I could. But yeah, I really, really enjoy coming here and I feel very, very relaxed.
If I didn't come up here, I'd only be sat in the house, doing nothing or watching telly. It's given me a new outlook on life since my wife died.
I lived at home and my son made me come out. He said, "You sit in that chair, Mother, all day long." He says, "You've got to get out and socialise." Yeah. And that's what I've done. He's made me come out, but I'm glad now that I realised just how much I was missing, really.
It's nice to have somewhere to go and nice people to speak to. Well, they got a pool table and there's about 10 or 12 fellas always round it, always playing.
Getting to some of these groups isn't always straightforward, but once you're there, it's usually a positive experience. Take the dancing group, for example.
Most of the dementia people and the Alzheimer's people are just sat at tables. But once the music starts that they can relate to, they will get up and they will dance on the floor. Just jogging about. The dancing for dementia is that it helps people who are normally not in a dancing environment to get up and dance.
Sometimes we can feel a bit battered when the journey gets a bit rough. But with help from the groups we have in Salford, we can navigate the journey better.
Carers sometimes are the forgotten person. The person with the dementia is the main thing, but you forget if anything happens to that carer, what happens to the person with dementia? Yeah. And so we really need to look after our carers. We came to be members of the Dementia Champions group because of the carers group. And through the Dementia Champions group, all our trainers, all our carers at the moment have done the Dementia Champions training. So they're obviously aware that they can help other people and rope other people in.
If anybody's got anything to worry about, someone's always there to answer your questions. You know, and I mean, the Dementia Champions, we've learned such a lot.
Sometimes our journey takes us into unexpected places.
Leslie always puts it as we were going down this particular road, going to near retirement and going this end of that, and somebody put a stop sign up, no entry, you can't come round here. So we've had to divert. We've diverted off this road to get to the place where we're going, but we're going down an unfamiliar route, which is what you do when you get Alzheimer's. But along that route, we've met so many nice people, so many inspirational people, so many of our peers who are in the same boat, who are going down the same route, and we're all going to end up in the same place eventually, which is a cure for dementia, but on the way, you live well with dementia.
To help us stay on track, there are agencies that are experienced and there to help. Vicky tells us about the ways the Alzheimer's Society can help along the journey.
The Alzheimer's Society as a whole is about getting the message through to people that life doesn't end with a diagnosis of dementia. So what our support service in Salford does is provide support for people living with dementia and help them live well.
As daylight fades, we know this isn't the end of the dementia journey. So let's continue to enjoy the day, live in the moment, and do our best to not worry about tomorrow.